Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to watch anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely won't match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine, just be respectful in the comment section, thank you. And as always, there is a spoiler section ahead, but don't worry, I'll warn you first. Hey guys, Darth Gloric here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Yuru Yuri. You know, I can say it in my head, and then the second I start recording, I can't say it. Yuru Yuri. I don't know why. Somehow I can say it anytime you ask, but then I start recording, suddenly, nope, can't say it. You know, stutter kicks in immediately, here we are. Anyway, like I said, we're recording that show that I can barely pronounce. So, obviously it actually hasn't been very long since my last positive anime review, but I watched this one rather quickly. So, before we hop into this one, there is some special things that we're going to have to talk about so you understand what I'm doing. So, we're only talking about Season 1. I think there's at least 3 seasons, I believe. There is at least 3, but we're only talking about Season 1 today. Now, I am going to watch and review the other 2 seasons, so Yuru Yuri is a slice of life, Shoujo Ai, and it's very low-key, very chill, very lighthearted. Now, it's fine, but it's slice of life comedy. Now, honestly, it is actually good comedy, which is a good praise from me, because I am not that much of a comedy person. However, it is good comedy, and it has made me laugh out loud. That being said, I have a hard time marathoning, like, 3 seasons of this show, or any slice of life comedy. It's nothing personal, I just can't do it. So what I'm deciding to do is I'm gonna watch this 1 season at a time. So I'm watching this season. I'm actually watching another show right now. It's 1 season and a movie, I believe. So then I will do that review, and then I'll watch season 2 of Yuru Yuri. So that's basically the plan. Is I'm going to divide so between each season of Yuru Yuri, I will watch a different show, so that way that's like on the shorter side of things, so I can get everything reviewed, but that way I don't have to sit through 3 seasons, and then it's more reviews for you guys, so you don't have to wait forever between reviews as I try and get through 3 seasons of this show. So that's basically the plan. Thought I would fill you in on what I was doing before we really hopped into it. So, one quick sip from some cranberry juice, and we'll hop into this. Actually, I think it's strawberry mango, actually. Anyway, so, obviously, we are reviewing Yuru Yuri, which, again, second I start recording, can't say it. Anyway, so when did this anime air? So Season 1 aired in summer of 2011, so it's been a while since Season 1 came out, but the other ones, of course, came out, you know, obviously distanced, but again, we're only talking about Season 1. Now, is there a dub? I believe there is a dub, but don't quote me on that. I just lean towards yes. I might feel like I've seen a dub, but I'm not entirely positive because, again, I didn't really look all that hard because I watched subs. So anyway, so I can't tell you if it's good or not. So as far as is this an adaptation from a manga, it is an adaptation, which if it occurs to me, I absolutely should read the manga. I wonder what that's like. Anyway, so yes, this is an adaptation from a manga, and I have not read that, but it is on my list. Anyway, so before we go any farther, of course, the synopsis is standard operating procedure, so let's hop into it. After a year in grade school without her friends, first-year student Akari Akaza is finally reunited with second years Yui Funami and Kyoko Toshino at their all-girls middle school. During the duo's first year, Yui and Kyoko form the amusement club, which occupies the now non-existent Tea Club's room. Shortly after Akari joins, one of her fellow classmates, Chinatsu Yoshikawa, pays the trio a visit under the impression that they are the Tea Club. It is only once the 3 girls explain that the Tea Club has been disbanded that they can convince Chinatsu to join the amusement club, a group with no other purpose other than to provide entertainment for its members. Based on the slice of life manga by Namori, Yuru Yuri is an eccentric comedy about a group of girls who spend their spare time drinking tea and fawning over each other, all while completely failing to even notice the supposed main character Akari amongst them. So, there you go. Obviously, this is a Shoujo Ai anime, so that should be no surprise to you. But it is very, very low-key. So again, we'll talk more about that when we get into the genre. But rating, how clean or dirty is the anime? Very stinking clean. I give it a PG-13, mostly because there's this one character that always likes to daydream about the other characters, like super heavy duty flirting with each other, and it doesn't get anything like risque or anything, but it's nothing too crazy, but it does happen. And then some of the characters' remarks as maybe a little bit more mature than kids should see, and so I give it a PG-13, but it's not that strict. It's pretty low key, and so I give it like a light PG-13, if that makes sense. So as far as genre goes, so obviously the genre is exactly what you'd expect. Shoujo Ai being the biggest, or Yuri as it's sometimes referred to, and slice of life, comedy, and school. So this is, like I mentioned before, a comedy slice of life Shoujo Ai anime. Now, this is it is a good time. It's very low key, very lighthearted, and honestly, it does make me laugh in several places. Which, shout out to that, because it's not something that a lot of animes can say. I don't watch that many comedy animes, because the second I find out that it's whatever, it's a rom-com or it's straight comedy, slice of life comedy, I often just shut off and I'm just like, yeah, okay, and then I immediately am usually uninterested. However, this is not one of those. It was Shoujo Ai. So naturally, back when I watched it the first time, because this isn't the first time I've seen it. This is like maybe the second or third time. So this is not the first time I've been through this show. But anyway, and so when I went through it the first time, I was like, man, it's comedy, but it's Shoujo Ai, and I'm so like freaking thirsty for that crap. So I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. So I watched it, had a good time, and but again, it's kind of a lot to marathon at once, because although it was good, I just can't marathon 3 seasons quickly. So I mean, I can, but not with a comedy show. Not with a comedy show. Anyway, so yeah, season length. So of course, season 1 is 12 episodes. Each season is only 12 episodes, but again, only trying to focus, only talking about season 1. Anyway, so 12 episodes. The episode length is exactly what you would expect, at about 23 minutes. Now this one is actually interesting, because normally this is the part where I would tell you that, hey, make sure you stick around after the theme song. Well, this is interesting because there is no theme song in Yuru Yuri. The opening, they have an intro, which is adorable. I love the intro for Yuru Yuri. The show is amazing, and I love the intro. And it's great, and it's very, very funny. And the closing, they just give you a preview into the next episode, and then that's it. So there is no song in this, and so there's nothing really to stick around for. So yeah, so you have that going for you. You don't have to worry about missing anything. So characters, moving on to our character list, we have 4 main characters. The main group of 4. We'll talk about them. I'm probably going to touch on 2 other ones, because they feel a little bit more important than you would believe. They're labeled as supporting, but they feel pretty sneaking main character to me. So I might mention the other 2, but we'll see. So moving on to our very first main character, we will talk about Akari Akaza. So Akari is, what's funny is there's this giant joke that Akari has no presence, that she's very forgettable and not noticeable. Now, so it's this funny running gag throughout the anime. So it's funny because one of the jokes is that Akari is the quote-unquote main character, but everyone, but she's so forgettable. I mean, according to the joke, I don't think so, but according to the joke, she is quote-unquote forgettable, and so they often forget that she's the main character. So it's almost fourth wall breaking, but not totally. So sometimes it is. It just kind of depends. But yeah, talking about Akari, she is our adorable little redhead with the adorable little red buns, and she is so stinking cute. So Akari, in personality, she's super sweet and super, I don't know what's the word. Like, generally, she's super sweet and super excited, and she's peppy and she's happy. And of course, she is very concerned about her own quote-unquote lack of presence. And she's always very concerned about being, whatever, invisible and whatever. And so it's, again, the running gag throughout, but I think she handles it pretty well. Now, Akari is super tight with her friends, and it does mention it in the synopsis, but Akari is childhood friends with Yui and Kyoko, and so those 3 have known each other since they were kids. And then there is a flashback, by the way, a short flashback in the latter half of the season, and it shows them as kids, and it is amazing. Seeing them as children, I was like, they're so cute! I couldn't take it, dude. They were so adorable. I couldn't handle it. Anyway, so it was adorable, but Akari is awesome, and she's sweet and she's peppy and she's happy, and despite that she doesn't feel like the quote-unquote main character, she does a great job at being positive anyway or whatever, so I like her quite a lot. And that's pretty much her. So moving on to our next main character, we have Kyoko Toshino. So Kyoko is basically she's the little main blonde girl, and she is the peppy Energizer Bunny battery of this whole thing. She's very busy, and she's very, I don't know, she's very excited, and so her and Yui especially are very close, and we'll talk about Yui in a minute. But so Kyoko is always dragging her friends into all this other, into trouble, but deep down that she is a good person and she's not dumb. She's very excitable, and so she's very happy and very go-getter and very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like kind of like ADHD. Like she's very excited, and so it's cool that Kyoko is, but she does care about her friends and her group and everything, and she's a super sweet girl. So it's funny because the entire time Kyoko is crushing on Chinatsu, because Chinatsu looks like a character from a manga that Kyoko loves. So looks like identical pretty much. And so Kyoko crushes on Chinatsu. Chinatsu's not about it, and so it's a running gag throughout. That's basically Kyoko. She's very excited, very happy, very peppy, and very adorable, just like everybody in this anime. So, moving on to our next main character, we have Yui Funami. So Yui is although she's mostly very close with Kyoko, of course, Kyoko, Akari, and Yui are, again, childhood friends. Now, Yui is very different. She is our dark-haired girl in this group. She's the one that probably looks a little more serious, maybe a little more shy. So Yui strikes as the kind of like the older one, even though they're all the same age. She feels older and more mature, and she's constantly bailing Kyoko, especially, out of trouble. And her and Kyoko have been, like, attached at the hip since they were kids. So Yui has always pulled her out of trouble as Kyoko pulls Yui into trouble. And so their relationship is adorable, and I love it a lot. And so after we talk about all the characters, I'm going to talk about some other, like, the relationships between them, so I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not glossing over it. We're going to get to it separately, by the way. Anyway, so Yui, she's far more quiet and reserved. Now, she has this adorable, like, shy side, like, when they're doing something that feels like maybe a little more embarrassing, that she does get shy, and she's adorable, and I love it. So the other interesting thing is that Chinatsu crushes on Yui a lot, and so that's, again, that's another one of the running things throughout the anime. Now, Yui is an awesome character because, of course, she kind of brings the group to Earth a little bit more, rather as Kyoko brings them up and gets them doing crazy things. Yui is kind of help balance and bring everything back a little bit, and so she feels kind of like the older one of the group, so to speak, and she's awesome. She's awesome. So moving on to our next main character, we have Chinatsu Yoshikawa. So Chinatsu is the youngest of our main four. She is the pink-haired girl, and she is the youngest. She's the youngest one of them. So, I'm pretty sure she's youngest. Actually, her and Akari might be the same age. Maybe. Her and Akari might be the same age, but she might be a little younger. But regardless, she feels like the youngest, at least to me. So Chinatsu is very peppy and excited about, not to the level of Kyoko, but she is still very excitable and not quite ADHD level, but she's young. She's just young and full of energy. So the entire anime, Chinatsu crushes on Yui the entire time, and Yui doesn't really reciprocate, like, at all. Like, most of anyone that's crushing on someone else, they get very little out of it, but whatever. So Chinatsu's fine. She is a good character. She's often with Akari, mostly because of their age is the same, I think, and so they're in the same year, I think. So often Akari and Chinatsu are together because they're kind of the younger ones, and then Yui and Kyoko are often more together because they're the older ones or whatever. And it's interesting because even though this main four are friends, they do feel like you can kind of feel the age despite everything. So it's interesting. So there's not much to say on Chinatsu. She's peppy. She is adorable. She crushes on Yui. Not much to say. So that's all for the main characters, but there's two other characters that I'm gonna touch on. I might reference some other ones, but we'll see. So the next character I want to mention really quick is Ayano. So Ayano is the student council vice president, and she crushes on Kyoko super hard. And it is one of the most adorable points throughout the anime. So Ayano is definitely probably looks the oldest, I would say. And she has like the longer purple hair. I think it's purple. She has like the longer purple hair. So Ayano is funny because she's mostly she's very mature and very put together and stuff. But when it comes to Kyoko, she's always like, she'll always volunteer for all kinds of crazy crap because Kyoko's there. And so she crushes on her super hard the entire anime, and it's adorable. So it's funny too because you know, again, appears mature, but then when a Kyoko's involved, suddenly it all falls apart. So it's interesting, and she's a super adorable character, and again, she's labeled as supporting, and in some ways I guess I can kind of see it, but I feel like she's such an important supporting character that I feel like it needs to be said. So the other character I want to touch on very, very quickly is Chitose. Chitose? Man, it's so weird to say that out loud. Like, reading it feels different. Anyway, so she's our lighter-haired, what is that, white? I don't know. The white/lighter-haired character. And she is also in, I don't know what position she is, but she's also in the student council. And she is with Ayano, like, all the time. They're also attached at the hip. So they're just super close friends. So Chitose is the one that always has, like, fantasies of Ayano and Kyoko together. And Chitose is always helping, trying to push Ayano to actually confess and actually do stuff, and then actually, you know, act on her feelings. And then Ayano gets all flustered, and it's just, again, it's a running dynamic throughout. And Chitose is super adorable, that a lot of people compare her in the anime to like an older lady and with her taste and stuff, and I can kind of see it even though that she's young. She just kind of has this, like, I don't know, this old lady vibe even though she's not. It's weird, like after you watch it, I think you'll kind of see it. But she's very adorable and super supportive of Ayano, and I super love that. And but there's not too much to say. I'm not touching on these guys super heavy. And then there's two other members of the student council. Well, I guess three others. There's three other characters of the student council. There's Himawari Sakurako, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sakurako, that's a weird name to pronounce. And then there is Rize. So there is all kinds of other characters, but they're all student council people, but they're all super supportive. So you know you'll meet them. But basically, it's the main six that I kind of wanted to draw attention to. And then that's basically our character list. And then there's also a teacher that gets introduced super late in the anime, more or less, and she's a very supporting character. And then Rize, I think is how you pronounce it, is the president of the student council. She's also introduced super late, and so it's interesting. So before we leave the character section, I wanted to touch on some relationships that I think are interesting. So, obviously, Kyoko and Yui are always attached at the hip. I ship Kyoko and Yui so hard. But the problem is, Ayano is so adorable that I also ship her with Kyoko. So, I could get behind either one, but I kind of a little bit lean towards Yui and Kyoko a little bit. And the other one that I wanted to point out is Rize, which is the president. I don't know if I'll be able to find pictures of them, but she's very young. And then the teacher, whose name I don't even know, and I would be very surprised if I could find a picture of her. So they appear to have some kind of relationship going on, and yeah, teacher student, but you know, whatever. You still get the idea. And so those are basically, I wanted to basically mention my ships, just so you would know where I was at. Anyway, so our character, the characters is really the driving point of this anime. I think it's just the chemistry between everybody, like as friends, is on point. And it's super good, and it's really well done. And I have seen the other seasons, so I know that it does get better. The characters that are introduced super late, like the president, and then that teacher whose name escapes me, like they're a little more prominent, and then other characters are like introduced, and the balancing and the chemistry continues later on. And it's super cool. So the characters is the biggest reason that you would watch this, I think. And it does the entire time. It has this very light Shoujo Ai vibes. I mean, I say very light, but nothing gets resolved. And so I don't want to give you the impression that something gets resolved. You're like, oh yeah, these guys get together and these guys get together. And it's not that type of anime. It's very slice of life in the fact that nothing gets resolved. So mostly it's goofy. Mostly it's lighthearted. However, I think one of the there was, I think, one like actually serious moment. There's been maybe a couple, but there was one specifically serious moment that was really heart touching, and it showed that if this anime wanted to be serious, it could absolutely do it, and I think it would do it well. But it's really good, and it just the balancing is really good, and the serious moment that happens later on in the anime is very good and very touching, and it really made me wish that there was more of those. But the characters is what really brings the anime, gives the anime some real power. So moving on to our favorite slash most hated characters, I didn't hate anybody. There's no character I hated. My favorite character is actually Akari, believe it or not. I really like Akari. I don't know why, I always have. Part of me identifies because the running joke, obvious again, is the fact that she has no presence and that she's like invisible. And sometimes she literally turns invisible. So I get that because when I was young and even modernly, I don't attract attention like ever. Like when I was young, like the only time I was attracting attention is if I was being bullied or if I was in a fight, and it was always something stupid like that. So I don't draw attention. And then when I'm in public, even as an adult or a later teenager, I'm like invisible. I'm the one that your eyes would gloss over and you wouldn't notice. That's me. So I get it because I feel like I have this kinship with Akari because the whole time she jokes about her lack of presence, and I'm like, dude, I so get that. And so I think that's why. I think Akari might be my spirit animal, and but what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? So I think that's probably why I like Akari. Plus, she's adorable and she's so happy, and I love the fact that she like continues to be a part of the group, even though the running joke is the fact that she's invisible or whatever. And obviously, it's a joke. It's a comedy anime, so it's not malicious. So anyway, so moving on to our animation and music section. So again, I mentioned this before, but there actually is no opening or closing song in this. So there is no opening and closing. There is this adorable, like, iconic intro that's actually by Akari, at least at first, that is amazing. It's actually my texting tone right now. So after you watch the intro, that initial sound, that is my texting sound. So anyway, and so it's adorable. So the closing song, there is no closing song. It's just like a preview of the next episode, and then that's it. However, there is good music in this. There is light music, like background, like ambient music throughout the anime that's really well done, and it adds to the happy, just the really good atmosphere. This anime has this really good atmosphere and chemistry between characters, and the music super accentuates that, and that's great. And then the other thing is animation. Animation in this anime is very good. It is really pretty and adorable and just really well done. And I think that's part of the reason that it works so well is the animation is on point. So the whole time there's maybe visual gags or something that they said, and it's super funny, and the animation is great in this anime, and I know it continues to be great later on as well. But that's basically it. So moving on to final rating and recommendation, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. Very good. This anime made no mistakes worth noting and is definitely worth a buy. Even though I flubbed my way through my own freaking scorecard, doesn't matter. The point is 5 out of 5. So I think this one is a great 5 out of 5. I recommend it if you are thirsty for Shoujo Ai like myself. If you are a Shoujo Ai fanboy or fangirl, I recommend it. I am super always looking for anything Shoujo Ai related, and so because of that, this one caught my interest all those years ago when I initially watched it, and the other seasons are good too, and we will get to them soon enough. But yeah, and so I recommend it. If you are a comedy person, I think you'll enjoy it. But if you're not so much, even if you're like me, where you're not so much of a comedy person, this anime I think does it in a way that's actually it's actually really good, and I honestly really do enjoy it. It feels like a little bit too much to do it all in a row. And to be honest, it actually did make me laugh out loud several times. That there were several times where I honestly laughed out loud. So not every comedy can say that. So I feel like that it has something good going on because it did make me laugh out loud, which I didn't expect. And that's pretty much it, man. So that is Yuru Yuri. So of course, like I said, I'm already watching another anime unrelated to this, and then when that one's over, that one is one season and a movie, I believe, and then when that one's over, then I will watch season 2 of Yuru Yuri, and then I'll watch something else, and then I'll hit season 3, etc, etc. You get the idea, but the point is that way I can break this up, everything can still get reviewed, but I don't have to watch it all in a row, which is easier for me and probably easier for you guys as well. But that's basically it. So uploads tomorrow should be normal. So I will be editing this video tomorrow, so for you guys it doesn't make a difference, but for me, I'm editing this one tomorrow, so that way I can break it up and actually fit things in better, and still do the reviews despite doing both gaming games today. So you'll be seeing this, I guess, what is it? Today is what, Wednesday? So I guess Thursday. So I ideally, maybe Thursday night or whatever, we'll see. Anyway, but other than that, it should be normal. It should be part 9? Part 9 of Everlasting Summer, I believe we're doing Miku. I think it's Miku might be next for her ending. We'll see how that goes. And then it'll be part 2 of Saints Row 4. So lots of good stuff coming. Anyway, that is going to call for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.